Welcome to Dave TV. Look at my ears. Isn't that weird? My ears are glowing. The sun is coming just through the window there, at just an angle, and it's like illuminating. It's freaky looking. I'm freaky, baby. Wow. Now the funny thing is, you can't see through my head that way. If you could see through my head that way, it's like, where's my brain? It's like, oh my God, the sun is going right through his head. How you doing, everybody? It's Dave TV for the 27th of March, 2013. I don't know. It's kind of the doldrums lately. Maybe we're getting around, a lot of times when we get around holiday periods here at DCR TV, things tend to slow down a lot. And news-wise, things are really slow. I sit there every morning, and there's stuff to report. But nothing earth-shattering, yesterday's big news, a new TV show for WETA Arts with the great Aubrey Davis, and a sports diversity panel at the University of Maryland. And, of course, big news like, hey, MASN's going to be carrying the Nats and Orioles again. So, it's stuff like that. Like, okay, big deal. Interesting with the MASN thing, though. We had a lot of reports last year about how the rights for the Nationals and the Orioles were going to shoot way up this year under some big complex arrangement. And everybody was like, oh, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Something big's going to happen in 2013. And then nothing happened. It's just, okay, it's like business as usual. There's some arbitration panel going on with Major League Baseball that was going to really up the amount of money that MASN would have to pay for the Nationals. And there was a lot of talk that maybe some third party would come in like Fox Sports or Comcast or something and make a deal with MASN or take the Orioles and Nationals away. I don't know. But it was a whole lot of stuff like something really huge was going to happen. And then it all just kind of petered away. Who knows? Somebody, I'm not, I'm a wonderful reporter. But somebody at the Post or somebody ought to take a look and see what the hell's going on and what's going on, because we had so much going on. Speaking of MASN, Kristina Akra, she was the Nationals field reporter, right? Stadium reporters, team, what do they call it? Sideline reporter for a year, and then she kind of left. And we were wondering where she's going. Well, now we hear she's going to the MLB Network, where she'll debut on the MLB Now show, which I guess will be running in the evenings when they run all their baseball coverage. So that is interesting. But, we're looking at what the hell is going on? There's not a lot of stuff going on today. Jon Ballard, a new gig for Jon Ballard. Remember Jon? I always liked Jon. He was for many years he did the afternoon show on DC 101, and then he went over to got moved off of that, and then they put him on Clear Channel sister station, Classic Hits / Rock WIBGer, and he did that for a couple years. And I don't know what happened there, but he got bounced in 2010. And went down to Georgia for a while to PD for a Clear Channel Classic Rocker down there. And then now we hear that he's headed out west to Fresno to work for a Classic Rocker non-Clear Channel. So that's some interesting news. Also some other interesting news here. Remember Bernadette Wood? She was the longtime Channel 13 Baltimore weather person. Well, she left a while back. We told you that she was going to a company called Climate Central in Princeton, New Jersey, which studies all that weather stuff, And hopefully they'll make, improve the Capital Weather Gang's reporting, because they sure do need it. But anyhow, we're hearing that Cheslea Ingram is her replacement. And News Blues calls her the young and screechy opera-singing part-time weekend weather guesser at Burlington, Vermont's WFFF TV. Cheslea was Miss Vermont in the Miss America pageant in Las Vegas. But she does have a degree in meteorology from North Carolina State. We've got an interesting video of her up there on DCR TV, so check that out. One thing I was looking at, speaking of baseball, gets you in the mood because, now, we're going from snow to baseball in a week here. I found this in the DCR TV stack of stuff. There we go. This is the Senators from 1966, and this is their radio TV team. And some interesting people. Look at that. That's Warner Wolf. Warner Wolf. Look at him there. He looks like he's about, I think he just came from his bar mitzvah there. Straight from his bar mitzvah. There he is. He's about 13 there. Warner Wolf. Who else do we got here? Warner Wolf was at WTOP Radio. Joe Pellegrino with WRC. Steve Gilmartin there with WMAL. Jim Gibson. Okay, Jim Gibbons, excuse me, went on to he was a major TV sportscaster back there in the 70s into the 80s, I believe. Worked at WPRK and, of course, WRC Channel 4. Okay, and Jim Simpson. Jim Gibbons and Jim Simpson. See, I was getting them mixed up. Two Jims. Both of them, yeah. Jim Simpson also with Channel 4 and NBC there. Bill McColgan, Ray Michael. Okay, here we go. Maury Povich. There's Maury Povich right there. Remember Maury? They still do that daytime talk show there. They throw chairs and stuff. Maury Povich at WWDC Radio. And then he went on to Channel 5 here in Washington back in the 70s. Remember he did that show Panorama? It was like a midday kind of newsy talk show. And he'd have... remember he had Martha Mitchell on a lot. John Mitchell's kind of loopy wife there. was John Mitchell, the Attorney General under Nixon, and Martha would come on with Maury Povich on the Panorama show, and she kind of talk like this and kind of dish the dirt. It was kind of a fascinating show. They go along with Nat Albright, another great sports guy. Whoa, where is he there? Right there, very young picture of Nat Albright there with WMAL. And remember, he also worked at WAVA Radio back when they had a news format. Mal Campbell at WMAL. And Eddie Gallaher. Okay, the great Eddie Gallaher at WTOP. One of the greats in Washington Radio. And Bill Malone at WMAL. These were all, I'm not sure exactly what all these other guys did on the Senators TV, radio and TV team. I guess they did some reports. They must have reported and stuff on the team and all that. And then you have the TV guys. These are the TV guys. John McClain and Dan Daniels. John McClain, and this is Dan Daniels. He was also another big. I think he was also on Channel 4, wasn't he, as a sportscaster? So there we go. So anyhow, that was 1966 when the Senators were here. Of course, the Senators. When did they leave Washington? They left in 71, was it? And then we didn't have baseball here for 40 years. Or 35 years or whatever. And, of course, Sports Illustrated has picked the Nationals to go to win the World Series this year. So, obviously, that's the jinx, and they'll probably have a lousy season. So, whatever. Okay, the sun's changing the angle, so it's not quite shining through my ears anymore. So, that's cool. Listening to the Gamut there, playing kind of country western this morning. I told a friend of mine, I said, okay, I'll tell you who the friend is. His name is Larry Burnett. Larry Burnett used to be in a band called Firefall. Remember, You Are the Woman That I've always... Well, anyhow, Larry Burnett was in the band Firefall, and he has had a real crazy history over the years, and I won't get into all of that, but he is now working at the UPS store right across from me here in Reston at the South Lakes Village Center. Larry's a cool guy. He's, kind of tall, got a little ponytail, but he's a really nice guy, and he'll, when I walk by there and they're not busy, he'll chat a few minutes and talk to me about the old days of radio. He used to work at the WCXR. Remember WCXR 105.9 when they were a classic rock station in the 80s? He did I think he did like a blues and a jazz show on the weekends or something. And he's worked all over the place. He worked at the old Winx radio and stuff. But anyhow, so I told him, I said, hey, the Gamut is just, he didn't even know of the Gamut. And I said, listen to the Gamut on 820 AM. He lives out in Loudoun County, Sterling area. I said, as you drive west, it'll probably come in clearer and clearer because 820 is a Frederick signal. So I said, hey, it's cool radio. They just mix it all up. You hear the Andrews Sisters, and then you'll hear Psychedelic Furs, and you hear, whatever. It's all big mix. And so he says, fine, I'll turn it on. So I asked him yesterday, I said, how'd you like the Gamut? He goes, I couldn't hear anything. I'm driving around and I'm hearing 3 different signals on 820. And I said, Larry, do you have your antenna hooked up to your radio? He's one of those guys that, like, AM radio, is that still around? Does anybody still listen to that? And I go, so I'm not sure if his radio is properly tuned for AM radio reception, because I could drive around here in Northern Virginia and get the gamut fairly well. But, I'm a radio geek, and I'm looking for, I think what Hubbard needs to do now is start working on some other signals for the gamut, like some FMers, if they can get some of those low-power FM signals in the area. Maybe, see if they can get it on some more signals. Buy out that WTNT relay on 102.9 and the WAMU relay on 105.5 and get some FM signals for the gamut, and they might get a little bit of spin going, don't you think? WMAL mornings, huh? I'll tell you, what do you want to say about Brian Wilson? He's on vacation this week, but anybody sounds better than Brian Wilson, doesn't it? I mean, oh, geez, they had Tori Clarke on Monday. She sounded great. They had a great chemistry with Larry O'Brien, and I don't know, and the other people they've been having on this week, they just sound, I don't know, better than Larry, better than Brian. Brian Wilson needs to go get a job in some political organization and get off the radio. He just doesn't have the face for radio. He needs to go get a job working at the Heritage Foundation or some right-wing political group and give up radio. I really think Larry O'Connor sounds good. He has that kind of a weird little quirky charm for radio, and pairing him up, especially with a woman, I really think it works well. He and Tori Clarke sounded really good, and so that's what I think. All right, folks, don't forget to help support DCRTV. Make a donation, make it $29, and get the fantastic DCRTV Plus with tons and tons of memories. Okay, folks, live long and prosper.